Good evening. I hope you all had a great day in the market, as the market finished off its historic quarterly performance. In fact, it was both the Dow and S&P's best quarterly performance since 1998, with the Nasdaq beating its last best performance that occurred in 2001. The Dow performed the worst of the three major indices, getting 0.85%. The S&P gained a greater 1.54%, while the Nasdaq closed the day up an astounding 1.84%. Dr. Fauci made various interesting comments today as he stated his concern for the United States' current coronavirus situation. Fauci told senators in a hearing held by the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, quote, "I can't make an accurate prediction, but it's going to be very disturbing. We're now having 40+ thousand new cases a day. I would not be surprised if we go up to 100,000 a day if this does not turn around. And so I am very concerned." End quote. The average amount of new cases a day has now surpassed 40,000 and is now 40% higher compared to the average new cases per day from a week ago. Fauci added, quote, "I'm very concerned and I'm not satisfied with what's going on because we're going in the wrong direction if you look at the curves of the new cases. So we really have got to do something about that, and we need to do it quickly." End quote. Even as some states are beginning to mandate quarantines for people coming from out of state, Fauci said, quote, "We can't just focus on those areas that are having a surge. It puts the entire country at risk." There was new news stating that there has been a new strain of the flu found in pigs in China, which has the potential to become a pandemic. According to the scientists, who work at several Chinese universities and the country's Center for Disease Control and Prevention, noted, such infectivity greatly enhances the opportunity for virus adaptation in humans and raises concerns for the possible generation of pandemic viruses. Pigs are intermediate hosts for the generation of pandemic influenza virus. Thus, systematic surveillance of influenza viruses in pigs is a key measure for pre-warning the emergence of the next pandemic influenza. Fauci spoke on this news. He noted that the virus does not currently have the ability to jump to humans, but it is showing, quote, "reassortment capabilities," end quote. He continued on saying, quote, "In other words, when you get a brand new virus that turns out to be a pandemic virus, it's either due to mutations and or the reassortment or exchanges of genes. And they're seeing virus in swine and pigs now that have characteristics of the 2009 H1N1, of the original 1918, which many of our flu viruses have remnants of that in it, as well as segments from other hosts, like swine." End quote. Fauci later played down the potential threat, saying, quote, "It's something that still is in the stage of examination. It's not an immediate threat when you're seeing infections, but something we need to keep our eye on, just the way we did in 2009 with the emergence of the swine flu." End quote. There was bearish sentiment in the airline industry as the European Union is continuing to bar entry for United States travelers along with the citizens of various other countries. The decision was taken based on the health situation of the countries of origin and will be reviewed every 2 weeks. Although, this announcement is considered non-binding, as the individual countries can reopen their borders to whichever countries they please. In a sense, the EU recommended the continuation of barring entry for United States travelers. Meanwhile, American Airlines announced that they would be starting up full flights starting tomorrow. CDC Director Robert Redfield said, quote, "Obviously, when they announced that the other day, there was substantial disappointment with American Airlines. We don't think it sends the right message." End quote. American Airlines said that it will continue to notify passengers when their planes are full and allow them to switch to less crowded flights at no extra cost through September 30th. And after September, passengers can still change their flights without being charged a travel change fee. Goldman Sachs showed support for the potential federal face mask mandate, saying, quote, "We find that face masks are associated with significantly better coronavirus outcomes. Our baseline estimate is that a national mandate could raise the percentage of people who wear masks by 15 percentage points, and cut the daily growth rate of confirmed cases by 1 percentage point to 0.6%. These calculations imply that a face mask mandate could potentially substitute for lockdowns that would otherwise subtract nearly 5% from GDP. If a face mask mandate meaningfully lowers coronavirus infections, it could be valuable not only from a public health perspective, but also from an economic perspective, because it could substitute for renewed lockdowns that would otherwise hit GDP. In economic news, consumer confidence rose to 98.1 for the month of June, beating estimates of an index reading of 91. Lynn Franco, Senior Director of Economic Indicators at the Conference Board, said, quote, "The reopening of the economy and relative improvement in unemployment claims helped improve consumers' assessment of current conditions," but noted, "The President Situation Index suggests that economic conditions remain weak. Looking ahead, consumers are less pessimistic about the short-term outlook, but do not foresee a significant pickup in economic activity." Faced with an uncertain and uneven path to recovery and a potential COVID-19 resurgence, it's too soon to say that consumers have turned the corner and are ready to begin spending at pre-pandemic levels. End quote. The best performance sector-wise was by oil and gas, which gained more than 2.4% during trading today. Tech and healthcare were closely following behind. Both telecommunications and utilities were relatively weak compared to their peers. Growth was the clear winner today, with each company size getting more than 1.6% in value. Notably, large cap growth gained nearly 2.5%. The worst performer was small cap core stocks, which gained at 0.88%. The best performance in the whole S&P 500 came from Citizens Financial Group, which gained 7.27% during trading today. This large gain came on the back of news that Citizens Financial will be continuing their dividend payment to the third quarter of 2021, which is when they will be able to raise their dividend again, since the Fed's mandate will be lifted. Their current forward yield on cost is 6.74%. The next best performance came from Xilinx, which is a tech company that develops highly flexible and adaptive processing platforms. Shares gained 6.99%, as yesterday after the bell, management raised their first fiscal quarter revenue estimates. On top of this, Rosenblatt raised their price target for Xilinx to a street high $120 per share and maintains its buy rating on the stock. Jefferies increased its price target from $105 to $115, saying the forecast is, quote, "consistent with our view that its communications business has reached a cyclical trough." The worst day came from Boeing, which was the best performer in the S&P 500 yesterday. Shares of Boeing lost 5.75% as the company faces more cancellations of 737 MAX orders. The latest cancellation came from Norwegian Air, which had an order for 92 737 MAXs. Now, Boeing has lost more than 300 orders of 737 MAX planes. The other poor performance came from makeup brand Coty. Shares of Coty lost 5.7% as it seems the exuberance surrounding the deal with Kim Kardashian West's makeup line KKW faded a little bit. Getting into earnings, we start with Conagra Brands, ticker symbol CAG, which is a packaged food company that owns brands such as Slim Jims, Hunt's Ketchup, Ready Whip, and Orville Redenbacher's popcorn, to name a few. Conagra had very good earnings, as they beat on both EPS and revenue estimates. Conagra beat on non-GAAP EPS by 8 cents, as they posted a gain of 75 cents per share. Revenue was a real winner, as it increased by 26.1% on a year-over-year basis. Quarterly revenue came in at $3.29 billion, which topped estimates by $140 million. Notably, net organic sales topped estimates, but Conagra had double-digit revenue growth in each of its 3 retail segments. Obviously, investors enjoyed this news and sent shares upwards. Next up, we have FedEx, ticker symbol FDX, which needs no introduction, as it is one of the biggest delivery services in the world. FedEx's earnings also had a double beat. Non-GAAP EPS came in at $2.53 per share, topping estimates by 97 cents. Revenue declined by a slight 2.2%, but still beat estimates by $880 million, as FedEx reported Q4 revenue of $17.4 billion. The company says virtually all revenue and expense line items were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. While commercial volumes were down significantly due to business closures across the globe, surges in residential deliveries at FedEx Ground and in trans-Pacific and charter flights at FedEx Express provided an offset. Investors love these earnings and have sent shares up nearly 9% after hours. Lastly, we have Acuity Brands, ticker symbol AYI, which is a lighting and building management company. Acuity's earnings report this morning contained another double beat. Acuity had non-GAAP EPS of $1.94 per share, which beat estimates by 67 cents. Revenue beat estimates by $29.59 million, as the company recorded $776.2 million in quarterly revenue. Revenue was down by 18.1% on a yearly basis, but investors took this news happily and sent shares up more than 7% today. That is all that I have for this evening. As always, I hope you have a nice night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.